right, I call this special call meeting to order. Ms. Tanner, please call the roll.
Basine?
Here. Campson?
Here.
Clanton?
President.
Jordan?
Here.
Ralston?
Here.
Martin.
Present. Okay, can I get a motion to go into executive session?
Madam Chair, I move that we enter an executive closed session.
Thank you, Mr. Clanton. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Campson. Ms. Tanner, please read the motion.
Move that the members of the school board go into a closed session for the purposes which are set out in subsection A of section 2.2-3711 of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act as amended for discussion, consideration, or interviews of prospective candidates for employment, assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salaries, disciplining, or resignation of specific public officers, appointees, or employees of the school board of the city of Norfolk pursuant to subsection 2.2-3711 of the Act. The subject of this portion of the session is the discussion of disciplinary actions taken or considered against specific employees for violating the board's requirement that employees be vaccinated for or weekly tested for COVID-19. Consultation with legal counsel and briefing by staff members or consultants pertaining to actual or probable litigation where discussion in open session would adversely affect the school board's negotiating or litigating posture, and consultation with legal counsel regarding specific legal matters requiring the provision of legal advice by counsel pursuant to subsections 2.2-3711A, 7, and 8 of the Act. The subjects of this portion of the session are issues concerning the matter set out above in subsection A of this motion, issues concerning the requirement that students wear masks on school property given the passage of Virginia Code Section 22.1-2.1 effective March 1st, 2022, and issues concerning the requirement that employees be vaccinated for or weekly tested for COVID-19. Basine?
Aye.
Campson?
Aye.
Clanton?
Aye.
Jordan?
Aye.
Ralston?
Aye.
Martin.
Aye. Okay, thank you, everyone. Can I get a motion to come out of closed session, please?
Dr. Martin, I move that we come out of closed session.
Thank you, Mr. Clanton. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Campson. Ms. Tanner, please read the resolution.
A resolution certifying an executive meeting of the School Board of the City of Norfolk in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, whereas the School Board of the City of Norfolk has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas Section 2.2-3712 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the School Board of the City of Norfolk that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now therefore it be resolved that the School Board of the City of Norfolk hereby certifies that, to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the executive meeting to which this certification resolution applies, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the executive meeting were heard, discussed, or considered by the School Board of the City of Norfolk. Basine?
Aye.
Campson?
Aye.
Clanton?
Aye.
Jordan?
Aye.
Ralston?
Aye.
Martin.
Aye. Okay, thank you, everyone. Can I also hear the resolution on, I'm sorry. Can I get a motion for eliminating the COVID-19 vaccination and weekly testing mandate and associated disciplinary actions?
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Martin. I'd like to make that motion. First, I want to thank Dr. Birdsong and the administration for implementing the mandate that the board requested on October 6th. I also want to thank all of our employees who are fully vaccinated and participated in the testing program to create that protective shield for our students and for the school communities in which they serve. I'm also very proud, and the board is very proud, of achieving a 90% fully vaccination rate, which is what the main goal of this mandate was. So that's an incredible achievement, and with that, I think that Norfolk Public Schools is in a good place where we can move forward to eliminate the vaccination or testing for the COVID-19 requirement effective immediately with regard to all current and future employees, except to the extent vaccination or testing may be required by other laws for certain positions within public schools.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
I'd like to second that motion and add to that I agree with Ms. Basine, how fortunate we were to have a superintendent that led us and really spearheaded vaccinations for teachers by being the first district to provide that service. And that really gave us the foundation we needed to reach that 90% total beyond herd immunity that has kept our school district from losing any of our children. So I strongly second that amendment, that proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Campson. Go ahead, Ms. Tanner, please call the question.
Basine?
Aye.
Campson?
Aye.
Clanton?
Aye.
Jordan?
Nay.
Rousen?
Aye.
Martin?
Aye. Okay, the ayes have it. Thank you. Next, can I hear the resolution on eliminating student masking requirement?
Dr. Martin. A resolution of the School Board of the City of Norfolk, a resolution eliminating student masking requirements pursuant to Virginia Code Section 22.1-2.1 effective March 1st, 2022. Whereas the governor has signed into law effective March 1st, 2022, and required each Virginia school board to comply with the law effective March 1st, 2022, Virginia Code Section 22.1-2.1, which among other things makes it the choice of each parent whether a child, a student in the local division, should wear a mask for protection against the spread of COVID-19 while on property owned or controlled by the local school board. And whereas the school board is legally constrained to abide by the new law or face unspecified consequences at the direction of the governor, the Virginia Attorney General, the Virginia Board of Education, the Virginia Department of Education, and pursuant to private lawsuits. And whereas the new Virginia law has no effect upon the ability of the Virginia school boards to regulate masks on school buses, which is controlled by federal law, or masking by non-students when on property owned or controlled by the local school board. Now therefore, be it resolved by the School Board of the City of Norfolk, Section 1, that beginning on and after March 1st, 2022, pursuant to the Virginia law, students will not be required to wear masks as protection against the infection or spread of COVID-19 while on property owned or controlled by the school board. Parents need make no special election on behalf of their child to exclude them from the masking requirements, but should they choose to do so, no explanation for the election need be given. Section 2, that students must continue to wear masks as protection against the infection and spread of COVID-19 on school buses pursuant to federal laws and regulations. Section 3, that all others, including but not limited to officers and employees of the school board, contractors, parents, and visitors, must continue to wear masks as protection against the infection and spread of COVID-19. Section 4, that parents with students in the Norfolk Public Schools are encouraged to decide for themselves, based on the latest Center of Disease Control guidance, whether to continue to require their children to wear masks when on property owned or controlled by the school board to protect their children from the infection and spread of COVID-19. Section 5, that the school board and superintendent will continue within the limits now imposed by the Virginia law to follow the Center of Disease Control's guidance as responsibly practical regarding mitigating the danger of infection and spread of COVID-19 in public schools. And Section 6, that this resolution shall be effective from after March 1st, 2022, shall repeal all previous motions and resolutions concerning student masking on school property to protect against the infection and spread of COVID-19, and shall be effective until such time the board votes to appeal it.
Thank you, Mr. Clanton. Can I get a second?
I second.
Thank you, Dr. Rousen. Ms. Tanner, go ahead.
Basine?
As I understand that this is a new law posed by the governor, as I said last week, this is about politics, not public health. And with that, I do want to point out some very important facts. As of today, based on the Virginia Department of Public Health, only 24.1 of our 5 to 11-year-olds are vaccinated, fully vaccinated. 51.6% of our 12 to 17-year-olds are fully vaccinated, and less than 10% of our 12 to 17-year-olds have received a booster. So with that, out of principle, I'm not going to be voting in support of making masks optional out of principle and as a public health steward. So with that, I vote no.
Campson,
Aye.
Blanton,
I agree with Ms. Basine in the numbers that are there. Making this resolution, I make it because it's something that we have to do by the law. The law has been signed in by the governor. But I do not agree with using our children as political pawns, is what I see this as regarding masking. But I do strongly encourage, is what this resolution states, that parents continue to adhere to the CDC guidelines. My understanding is that the CDC should be placing up some new guidelines regarding masking, and particularly for public schools. But just knowing that this school board, our administration, our superintendent will do everything possible to continue to ensure the safety and well-being of our students and our staff members and all those that are present and inside our buildings. So with that, I do vote yes. Aye.
Jordan,
I appreciate what both my colleagues have said. Ms. Basine, I thank her for the data and her consistency around public health. When we discussed this last week, my consideration was not only around being in compliance with the law, but equally the way that the law was set up. It seemed to me that had we implemented things the way that they were coming out from the state, it was going to cause an excessive burden on our principals and teachers to try to keep up with forms and who submitted what and who hadn't. And so I'm supporting the resolution because I believe it's important that we not have our principals and teachers spending excessive time at this time dealing with forms and being able to continue to support our children in the classroom. So I vote yay.
Ralston,
Aye.
Martin.
Aye. And with that, meeting's adjourned.